Hi all, welcome back to software engineering course. Let's get started. So let's move on to the second chapter, that is software requirement analysis and specifications. So this is the marks split up. First we will see what is a software requirement, right? So what is it? This is the formal definition of it. A software requirement is a condition or a capability that must be met or possessed by a system to satisfy a contract, standard, specification, or other formally imposed document. Now, what does this mean? Right? So, whenever you are developing something, so on what basis you develop a product or a project? You need to have some functionalities, you need to have some requirements, right? Now what are these requirements? Who will give you these requirements? So we have client or the customer. So what they will do, either they will have their existing system or they have some problem with their system and they want to automate it, or they want to build a new project for that. So what they do, they will give us the functionalities. They will say that, okay, this is my functionality and you have to develop like this. The functionality should have this input and it should produce this output. Now this thing, the whatever the client says to us is a requirement. It's a software requirement. It's a condition or a capability that must be met or possessed by the system what a developer is building. Okay, getting it? Now, these requirements will be written down properly and it will be in a document. Next, we will see what is a software requirement specification, that is SRS. Now, it is a detailed description of the software system to be developed with its functional and non-functional requirement. Now, this SRS or the software requirement specification, it is nothing but it's a document. It contains all the functionalities what the client wants. Along with that, you have non-functional requirements as well. Now, what are these non-functional requirements? We got to know what is functional requirement. Okay, if I consider the library management system, say suppose your client is, he says they want library management system to be built up. So what could be the functional requirements here? The functional requirement could be the first one, librarian should be able to log in. Second one, librarian should be able to issue a book. Next functionality could be librarian can put up the fine if the book is not written by the student. Other functionalities, it could be student should be able to log in, student should be able to search the book by book ID, author name. If I go on telling like this, we will have like 15-20 requirements, say basic functional requirements. Okay. Now what is this non-functional requirement? Here, non-functional requirements are like performance and reliability. Okay. Now, how do you judge that, right? So, say for example, if you consider the non-functional requirement performance in the library management system, say for the functionality, students should be able to log in. So, how much time should be given to log in? Is it like 30 seconds, a minute, 10 minutes, right? How much time should be given for the login? So, this is one of the performance requirements. Next, we will see what is SRS document or what is software requirement specification document. Now, this is nothing but same as the SRS, but this SRS, all the specifications, right? The functional, the non-functional things, all these things will be written in a document. So that document, we call it as SRS document, but in general, we say that it's a SRS. Okay. Now, why this SRS is needed? Right? Why we need this? Can't we do project without this SRS? We can, right? If we know the functional requirements, we can, but why it is necessary again? So this SRS is needed because it is the base for the entire project and it describes what the software will do, but it does not describe how the software will do. This means, say for example, client gives you the requirement saying okay, we'll take e-commerce example like Amazon. Okay, now the client wants a e-commerce website like Amazon. They'll give you all the requirements, and you have built all the requirements. Say suppose there is no SRS. They have just communicated you through over phone, okay, over phone or in meetings, Google Meets and all. They have communicated you the requirements. As per the requirements, as per the communication, you have built the project, you are delivering the project to the client. Now the client should verify it, right? On what basis the client will verify that the requirements, whatever given by him, are actually developed by you? You could miss one or two requirements, or he might say that I have not given this requirement, you have built it wrongly. What is the proof, right? The proof is SRS. That's why we need SRS. Getting it? It forms the base of the entire project, and it tells what to do. It does not give you the implementation methods, how you have to do it, what data structures you have to build. No, SRS does not specify all these things. It just says what the product should do. That's it. Okay. Next, we will see value of a good SRS. Now, there are three major parties which are interested in the system or in the product development. So, who are these three parties? The first one is the client because he gives you the requirement. He has some problem. That's why he want to build something, right? Then the developer or the company who will take the requirements, build it, and then gives back to the client. And the third one is the actual users, actual end users. So there is a difference between the client and the actual end users. Remember this, okay? So developer company or the developers, what they do, they develop the requirement taking from the client, and your product, your software will be used by the end users. That means the persons who are actually working in the client company will use your system. They won't be having the knowledge of this SRS functionality, nothing. Okay. So the basic purpose of the SRS is to bridge the communication gap. So the communication gap between the client and the developing company or the developers, usually we say. So it bridges a gap between them. So one of the value of SRS is it established the basis for agreement between the client and the supplier on what the software product will do. So your SRS will act as a agreement or proof between the client and the supplier. Supplier means your developing company, okay, product developing company. So it acts as a proof or agreement between them. So say suppose client has given you the functionalities, then you have developed the software. So what happens here is at the end, when the product is developed, your SRS will be taken into consideration and client will check whether whatever they have specified in the SRS is actually present in the system or not. So it acts as a proof. Okay. Next value is SRS provides a reference for validation of the final product. Again the same thing. So whenever your product or the project is built, so SRS is taken as a reference for the validation for testing purpose. Whether it actually has all the requirements or all the hardware support or whatever needed it's present in the final product or not, it is checked. The third one, a high quality SRS is a prerequisite to high quality software. So we say that SRS should be of high quality. Say suppose if the SRS itself is having many bugs or it has lots of errors, then what will happen? Say by mistake these errors are not taken into consideration or it has been skipped, then what will happen? That the developer will develop according to SRS, and the final product will also have the bugs or the errors. Now what will happen in this case? So what will happen here is if the SRS contains errors, your product will also contain error, and those errors will remain in the product and client will start using it, and later they'll come out with the bugs. Okay, so we cannot say like if error is present then only the product will have errors. Okay, so even a correct implementation of the SRS will also lead to a system that will not satisfy the client. So there could be this scenario as well. Okay, the next is a high quality SRS reduces the development cost. Here, the quality of the SRS, it will impact both on the cost as well as the schedule of the project. Say suppose if a requirement error is detected and it is removed after the system has been developed, then what will happen? So it can cost up to 100 times more than removing it during the requirement phase itself. So it is best to check the SRS first. If there are any errors in that, So we have to check whether the SRS is of high quality or not. So in this case, so if it is of good quality, then your product will also be of good quality. If there is any error in the SRS, if it remains in the project or your product, what will happen? If it is detected, the error is detected after the project is built, then what will happen? The cost and schedule both will be impacted here. Okay, now we should understand that SRS bridges the gap between the client, the developer, and the end users. Okay, next we will study about the requirement process. The requirement process is not a single activity. Okay, this contains a sequence of activities that need to be performed in the requirement phase so that a high quality document, SRS document, is produced. Now, there are three tasks of this requirement process. First is problem analysis or the requirement analysis. Next is product description or requirement specification. And the last one is requirements validation or just validation. Okay. Now, what happens during this problem analysis or the requirement analysis? The actual problem or the problem domain is analyzed. That means an effort is made to understand the system behavior, the constraints in that system, what are the inputs to that system, and what will be the output. Now, the basic purpose of this particular activity is to obtain a thorough understanding on what the software needs to provide. Okay, the basic activity here is to get the thorough understanding of the system. Next is the requirements description or product description. So the activity here is on specifying the requirements in the document. You have done the analysis. Next, what you have to do? You have to specify the requirements in the document. So here the issues such as representation, specification languages are addressed in this activity. Now, as the analysis produce a large number of information, huge amount of information, right? So whenever a problem is given to you, so if I say go and search for this requirement analysis in Google. So what you do, you have 45 members, so you'll have 45 types of contents, right? So there could be some redundancies, there could be a lot of information. So what happens here is whenever you have this analysis activity, it has large amount of information and there could be some redundancies. That means there could be some duplicates. So what you have to do, you have to properly organize and describe that requirements. So now this that particular thing, that is organizing and describing the requirements, is done in product description. Okay, the last is requirement validation. So this focuses on ensuring that whatever have been specified in the SRS, the document, those are all indeed actual requirements, and it makes sure that the SRS is of good quality. Validation is nothing but checking whether the all the requirements are correct, there are no redundancies, there are no ambiguities, no confusion in the SRS. So that is the activity of validation. So we have your arrow, right? Arrow from product description to problem analysis, from validation to these both activities. Now what are these feedbacks or the loop, what they'll say? So if we consider a complex system, okay, so if we consider a system like there is a system which is very complex, what we have to do, we cannot directly jump into this analysis and write the product description or the SRS. So for that, what we have to do, we have to use a divide and conquer method. So if this is a complex system, we have to divide the system into multiple parts so that each part can be analyzed and the SRS can be written for that particular part. Okay. So the arrows from the validation phase to product description and validation to problem analysis. What does it specify is if we have any problem during validation, that problem can be again analyzed and then SRS can be modified again, then validation of the SRS can be done. That's it for today. We'll conclude our session. Thank you.